I got 10 new lights. I bought 12. And I thought, well, I'll just use 10. So I put in 10. The very first one I pulled out of the box, hooked it on the wire, did not work. And so, pulled them all out and tried them all, and they all worked except for that first one. So, we had, in the process of tearing all this rock out and cleaning it, putting new landscape fabric down. So I figured it was time to replace the old lights. So you can see there's 3 of them right there. Now this one right here, the day after I put these all in, and I put these all in about 5 days ago. So the day after I put these all in, this one wasn't burning. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll knock something loose when we put the rocks back. So I dug it all back out. I had one spare that worked. I put it on there, it came right on. So that's my spare right there. And then after that, these 3, in the span of 5 days, I've lost 4 of them. So those 3 will have to be repaired. And I'm guessing that eventually every one of them will have to be repaired. So I came up with a plan. Let's just act like this is the main wire that's running. They lay down in here, and then these 2 little spikes here, they penetrate that wire and they hit the actual copper wire inside. And then it comes on. Well, this one did not work. So out of, how many did I have? 12. I had 12. This was the only one that did not work because I took all of them down there to the end of my wire, and they all worked except for that one. Well, that I was only using 10, so that left me with 1 spare. This was the spare. It already went out, and I already replaced it with the good spare. So I've already had this apart. I put it back together. I'm just going to show you what I found when I took it apart. This burnt for about a day, and I almost ordered these off of Amazon. I got to reading the reviews, and people were saying, oh, the LED ones are no good. They don't last very long. Well, my experience has been LEDs last forever. Now these are all aluminum and glass. So that's kind of why I bought them, because they'll last a lot longer than these plastic. You know, these are outdoors 24/7, so that should last a lot longer than these plastic ones, which these plastic ones, I don't know when they were put in, but I've been here almost 10 years. So when you take that apart, it's pretty well made. It's got a rubber gasket down here in the bottom, and then it's got this plastic dome that covers the actual LED itself. And because these are pretty well made is the reason I'm keeping them. But you can see, let me turn on this light. This should help. Let me turn this one on too. It might help a little bit. There we go. That wire coming up through that little circuit board right there is black. So take that circuit board off. Okay, those screws that hold that dome on are what hold this to the base. So that comes off, and this wire, you can see, is melted. Right here is melted. And then look at that circuit board right there. It's toast. I mean, completely burned up. And so, like I said, this thing lasted maybe a day. And since then, I have had 4. Well, no, I've had 3 because I fixed this one. Well, I didn't fix it. I replaced it with my spare. And I thought, well, then the next day I had 2 more out. Then the next day I had 1 out. So I'm down, out of 10, I'm down to 7 right now. And I thought I've got to come up with some kind of fix because I've already buried the main wire back under all that brick, or not brick, but rock. And so here's the idea I came up with. Just completely getting rid of all of this. Get rid of that too. So, I looked on Amazon and eBay, and I'm telling you what, it's kind of hard to find parts. Here's what I came up with. This is a T10 base, and it was a little confusing because apparently these are made for automotive applications as well, for like tail lights, push-in tail lights. This is a T5, which it's the same. It's the same as this. This is just the LED version, which lasts drill index up on the shelf. I use this thing quite a bit. This is a drill gauge, and if I need to drill a hole, I'll just use this to figure out. See, 31/64 that fits through, but it's got to go through to be held. So 1/2 inch looks like it's going to be just a hair too big. So 31/64, it'll go through on this plastic. Well, it doesn't want to, but there it goes. That's kind of how it's going to be in this aluminum. So what I'm going to do is, get that back out. I'll start off with a 31/64. I'll start off with a little bitty one just to center, just to make sure it's centered. Then I'll go up to 31/64 and I'll see if that'll fit in there pretty snug. See, we got one up there working, one down here working, one down here not working. So what I'm going to try to do is yank that whole thing right off of that post. And cut the wires. Then I can take that one in and fix it. There we go. That worked pretty good. This is held on by screws on the inside. I'm just going to cut it as close as I can. And I'll bend that. See, I've already got 2 of these fixed up and ready to go. But I got 3 out. And it's, yep, that's it. It's not, it doesn't have the room to pull out because I got it stretched long instead of having it loose. So I don't know whether to try to cut this right here. It's not, that came a little bit. Give me a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right here. And I'm just bending this wire over so it doesn't fall down in there. Oh, this was really tight. This is the one that I had the wire stretched pretty tight because I had to move this for something. I don't remember. Maybe that pot or something. Some reason I had to move this. Maybe it was this. I had to move it from its original location. So this one, I'm gonna have to get my screwdriver and take this one apart, get it and cut it right at the circuit board inside. So that one will have to wait. That I've removed. And that was pretty loose. These are actually pretty loose from the factory. I have 3 that are burnt out. My screwdriver I was using. And I already have 2 that I have repaired and are ready to go back in. I just pulled these 2 off this morning. And I've already done this to these other 2, but looking back at my footage, I wasn't in, those are tight. I wasn't in frame on my footage, so you couldn't really see what I was doing. So trying, I need maybe a different size. That'll work. I thought since those were small, that small screwdriver would work, but those are tight. So I'm going to do this one a little more. Now this one, let's see if I can find. Oh, that's a different circuit board. I may have threw that other one away yet already, but the first one that burned out, when I took it apart, this was black and burnt right here. I won't need these screws, but these I will, because I'm putting it back on. All right. Take that apart. And I'm not seeing anything that on these that would be a reason why they burn out or quit working. I had the very first one I tried, didn't work at all. When I took it apart, this, I don't remember if it was this wire right here or if it was the bottom. I think it was this bottom wire. Wasn't even soldered in to the circuit board. This one is, and I don't see anything visibly wrong with this, but these worked for a day and a half. All right, so I got rid of those circuit boards. Now I'll drill me a little hole right here in the middle just so I can center it up. All I did was put me a little marker where I feel the center is, because this is the size hole I need, and if it's not centered, it'll get into these other two holes. Now, I'll put that in the vise to drill this bigger hole, because I've So now I've got my hole, and that's pretty close to perfectly centered. Take my T10 socket. It's got two different places you can put it. You can put it in either way, it looks like, but see how that turned out. And so these wires go back down through here. These posts here are no longer used. Those were just for the circuit board. These three posts are what holds this on here, so I better put me a bulb in there before I put that back on. All right, I got these bulbs. This stuff all I got off of Amazon. These are LED and they last a long time, so. Put that back on. You could actually leave that off and just put it back on, because that's just less I got to throw away. Plus these screws will probably be a little bit too long if you don't put it back on. Mosquito buzzing in my ear. All right. There's that. Now, this has a rubber gasket. Neoprene, I don't know what it is. Foam, some kind of gasket. And I'm just trying to make sure it's not centered in it. Now, put this back on. There we go. And what I like about these is that they're aluminum. Sounds like my wife's home. So, I don't know if they're anodized, powder coated, or just painted or what, but I can almost guarantee they'll last a lot longer than, here's one of the old ones that came out. You can see that plastic is just falling apart. It's so bad that you can't put this back on the top because it pushes that down and it's going to break it if you. It takes a good bit of force to put that lid back on. All right, there's that one done. Got one more to do. I'll just go ahead and do it off camera. And out there and got that one that was really tight. And I cut it right there, but look at that circuit board. How burnt that is. And then that side, you can see it's toast. Now this other one, you know, that looks perfectly fine. So that's 2 out of 4 that were just absolutely burnt up. And I've lost count now. I think I've had 4. Yeah. Just 4 out of, no, 5. 5 out of the 12 that I bought don't work. And the first one that didn't work, this wire right here wasn't even soldered into the circuit board, so. I really don't remember. I think these were made by Sunbeam. I know I got them at Ollie's. And I'm still happy with them. I'm still happy with them, but I hate that I have to fix them with brand new lights. Getting ready to stick this one in, and I noticed one side is spread apart. I noticed that on the last one too, so I got these little fine needle nose. I just kind of mash those back together a little bit to where they're both about the same. Yeah, it's on. I'll let that connector cool off a little bit before I stick it down in there. Take a double bite on that one. That only goes up to that adhesive. I seen that solder spread out. Looks like it's supposed. Now this one. I'm taking a double bite on these is because this wire insulation is too thick to get all the way down in there. This one's got more slack on the wire, so I'll do them both at the same time. This one I need to pull down just a hair, right there. Sometimes that solder all my lights are working now. This one here seems to be a different bulb. It's like a bright white compared to a soft white of these other ones. But I'm happy with it. They're all working. So that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Devo Does Stuff.